Arcade USA, and I'm joined here by Shane from Arcadeaholics LLC to talk about their new game, CosmoTrons. So how you doing today, Shane?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for that intro. It is great to be here with a fellow arcade enthusiast. So thanks much for that intro and having us on.
So what's the story behind CosmoTrons? How did it get created?
Sure. So thank you very much for asking that. It's an interesting story. I've been a video gamer, of course, my whole life, and I'm an arcade enthusiast as well. So I have about 25 machines. And I was trying to think about, man, like what do I really want to play for a game? So I kept searching around for old classic games. What else do I want? Because I'm very happy with my collection. Just trying to think, like, there's something I'm looking for. I don't know quite what it is. And I'm like, man, I feel like I want a multiplayer gravity-based kind of battle game. So then I kept looking for that, and then I looked at all the indie games out there. I couldn't find it. So I was like, oh, man. So then a year later, I'm like, okay, well, maybe we should just build it so then I can try playing it. So that's kind of the story. So I built a prototype, and then I showed it to my friend Dave. So Dave, he is also part of Arcadeaholics LLC, so this is a two-person team. And we started developing this game, and it kind of went from, hey, this is just going to be a fun game that I can have in my personal arcade for my friends to play, to now lots of arcades contacting us and wanting it as an actual arcade machine, and us potentially doing that, and of course releasing it at some point on Steam and the home consoles. Like we got to figure some of that stuff out, but it's been very, very, very well received. So that's kind of where we're at this point, Willie.
Oh, awesome! That's pretty cool. So, what was the inspiration for the actual game mechanics, the screen? It looks kind of like it kind of reminds me of Gravitar a little bit.
Sure. So if you think of those early 80s classic arcade games, those space games, the vector games, I'm a big fan of all those vector games, whether it's just the white ones or the color ones. Big fan of those games. So there's some obvious influences there. And then, of course, that gravity mechanic. So yes, I'm a big fan of Gravitar, and I like that. But then I was saying, but like Space Duel, you can play together simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, why not a gravity version of that? So that's kind of what got us going on that. And then I'm also a big fan of Street Fighter, and I like how you can choose your own character, mm-hmm. and it just adds so much replayability. So that's kind of where I had the idea with the different ship types. So that's one of the reasons why we did that. And then also things like Mega Man, you can have like different weapons and a charge shot and stuff like that. So that's what kind of, all these different ideas and inspirations from these other games kind of all collectively in one for Dave and I to create CosmoTrons.
How long did it take you from conception of the game to your first alpha that's on your website now?
Sure. So I started working on a prototype in October. So I've had this idea for, like I said, a couple of years or so. So in October of 2016, that's when I made the prototype. It took me a couple of weeks, and the wife and I tried it, and we're like, man, like, I think we got something here. We just played the two-player version. And then I showed it to Dave because I was starting to get kind of stuck. I was like, this is getting beyond what I can do programming-wise. So then he hopped in, and then our first demo we released in, I think it was late December, and that was just kind of an early concept demo just to see if what other people thought of the game. And then here we are, early April is when we released this alpha. So the current alpha that is out there, that's when we released that. So, and along with that, which I'm sure you'll get to this at some point here, but along with doing all that software development, we also designed our own arcade machine and built that. So yes, you can probably assume we've been very busy.
Yes, I can assume that quite well, that you've been very busy, considering the looks of the arcade cabinet's very large. It kind of reminds me of the Killer Bee arcade cabinet, where you could have
Killer Queen. Yeah, like Killer
Queen. I'm sorry, Killer Queen. Yep. We have 4 people side by side, they're not crowded. Nice, huge display screen. As a matter of fact, you had this on display at Midwest Gaming Classic, correct?
Correct. So we had it there. That was the last weekend, and we always love going to the Gaming Classic. They do a wonderful job, and we are so excited to have our own game there. And that's where the Midwest Gaming Classic, they kind of inspired us to make our own game because they're very supportive of that, and we just wanted to show it off to the world. So it went over very well. So we were very lucky to get a great spot at the Midwest Gaming Classic and have it there for the world to play. And man, the weekend went by so fast. We were just talking to so many people and so many people playing on it and so on. It was very, very well received, and we actually won Best in Show, Best Multiplayer Video Game.
Oh.
And that one was voted by like the pure collectors that actually bring the machines. And then we also received another first place Best Multiplayer Video Game, and that was voted by the judges. So,
oh my gosh.
Amazing weekend, lots of support, and this is just great.
Well,
love it.
Congratulations on that. That's a good sign.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been playing the alpha single player version, and I'm having a blast with it. I love this game. I can't wait to try a multiplayer version of this.
So, which ship type? And like one of our sayings is we say, "Which ship are you?" So what would you say? So I don't know if you've tried all. We have 6 right now. Which ship would you say is you and why?
Oh, which one was I using? Oh my gosh, I've been playing it quite a bit. I've been trying all the different ships out to see how they react and all that good stuff. Oh.
So, like we got the recruit, the fighter, the squid, jalopy, beast, snipes.
Probably the one I like the most is the jalopy because that's basically sums me up. I'm just a jalopy.
Most people hate the jalopy because that's the most difficult ship to fly. So if you can fly the jalopy,
that explains it.
Well, you got some mad skills.
Well, that explains why I can't last very long. I'm gonna try a different ship.
Yeah, say if you want to last longer, try a different ship. But the jalopy is great. It is a fun ship.
Well, which one is your favorite ship of those?
Wow. So it really, I guess it depends on the map and what mode I'm playing. But the recent the combo that's been suiting me very well is I like to use the squid, and I like to use for the charge shot. I like to use the Cosmo Buster.
Oh yeah.
So I use that combination lately.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, basically, the single-player campaign, I guess that could be considered as to get used to the controls and the ships and things like that. Is mainly what that's for.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you want to call it like a practice type mode. So the core of the game definitely is multiplayer, but the single-player version, we do have that in there. It's definitely great for practicing. And then for your viewers, so they know you shoot targets and collect beacons. And there's actually a timer that counts up as well. So and we eventually want to have if you're going to call it like a high score. So the high score would be how fast can you beat the level. So like competitive. So there will be some competitive stuff even with single player. And then we eventually want to do some things like maybe like a horde mode in single player and stuff like that. But obviously our main focus definitely is multiplayer.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have a Twitter feed that people can follow the development of this game?
Yes, we do. We do have a Twitter feed, and I believe it's just Twitter/CosmoTrons game.
Cool. And you have a website as well, besides Facebook?
Our website, we've been so busy with everything, we haven't had a chance we want to make a landing page. We haven't even made a landing page. We, of course, own the domain. The domain is CosmoTronsGame.com, but we've just been so busy with everything else that we've just been really using our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/CosmoTronsGame.
Awesome. I'll put links in the show notes of this video and everything so people can follow along. I highly recommend following this game. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I say that the single player, once you try it out, I think people find that it's fun. And then once you get some buddies playing too, man, it's a whole different story, And,
beers, pizza, and CosmoTrons.
There you go. Nonstop.
So what's your ETA for a final version of the game?
I guess it really depends on what happens here. If we decide that we want to start with doing the arcade cabinet route first, because we are getting a lot of interest that way, or if we do want to it's probably not realistic to do all of it at once for us, but that's going to be some determining factors. We we feel with obviously when you try the alpha, the core gameplay is there. There's a few modes that we want to add, and if we so for Steam, once we eventually get it out on Steam or PC, we definitely want to have like a multiplayer online as well. So we have some other stuff that we want to add and some other like modes that I'm not ready to share yet.
Okay.
So there's a lot more content, some maps. One thing I will say, planetary type gravity, kind of like what would that be, Space War, where you can kind of the center, you got the center dot, but like different on Earth, like maybe there's a couple points of gravity and it kind of swoops you around.
Yes.
So that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of we got the core, but there's a lot of Dave and I, we want to bring it up another notch. We don't want it to just be, hey, CosmoTrons is great. We want CosmoTrons to blow your mind. That's what we're going to try and do. In terms of ETA, then, I think it's realistic for us software-wise to be done by the end of the year. I mean, I think that's realistic. So
awesome.
we'll see what happens. I can't guarantee a date, of course, but that's kind of what we're thinking right now.
Well, it looks like this is going to be pretty successful from what I've heard so far. So what are your what do you think your plans are for the future after CosmoTrons? Do you think you and Dave may try to develop something else, or?
I will say we have multiple ideas.
Oh.
And I really, really hope this is just the beginning. So we have our brand. Our brand is Arcadeaholics LLC, and we're really focused on like core mechanics and gameplay and those, preferably like multiplayer type games that focus more on gameplay than just, let's say, aesthetics.
Yes,
it's all about the gameplay, and it's not just that, but also the replayability, and then also the aspect of like skill and longevity of games. Like Killer Queen has leagues and stuff like that built around it. Like we want to implement, we want to try and do stuff like that and support those barcades, arcades, those types of gamers, and then people at home too are playing online. We want to support that. We want to build a community around the game, and then we want to take that to our other games as well, our other ideas.
Oh, awesome. Now, you mentioned that you were also an arcade collector. When did you first started collecting arcade games?
I first started, it must have been around 2008, 2009-ish when I first started collecting, and I convinced the wife to get one machine in our dining room. Like, it's just gonna have one arcade machine. Burger Time.
Oh, good choice.
$250. It's like, you can't get one for that now. Loved it. That's my first arcade game and loved it. And now I'm sitting, and I don't know if your viewers will see this part, but now I'm sitting in my arcade room right now, or one of my arcade rooms, my living room. Yeah, one of them. And I got to tell you, it was my wife's idea, so it was Juanita's idea.
There you go.
Make the living room arcade room. We'd use it more that way. So okay. And I got to tell you, the laptop right now is sitting on a Tron cocktail machine, and then in the background of me, we got Gravitar and what else? Wacko, yep, Tapper and stuff like that. So going from that one Burger Time, like right now, I don't know, I got like 25 or 30, something like that.
They're like potato chips. You just can't have one.
Oh yeah. I agree.
They're so much fun.
Yes.
So much fun.
Yes. And that's where I say, it really has inspired Dave and I, these classic games, these classic game designers, what they did back in the day, all those core elements and stuff like that, like putting that into our games, finding a way to do that, but modernize it a little bit too. So awesome. That's what we're all about.
Oh, that is awesome. So you have any plans to show your machine and other shows coming up this year?
Yes, this has been a wild ride. So this is a week since MGC. We've been invited to bring the CosmoTrons arcade cabinet to a couple more places. I don't want to say what places yet on your show yet, because I promised my the followers of our CosmoTrons newsletter, I promised them that I'd release stuff to them first.
Awesome. That's cool.
And I'll be doing that in a couple days. So those people that think they're interested in our game, like, hey, hop on our Facebook and get on our newsletter. There's a link there. But anyway, So we do have multiple events. We're interested in taking it multiple places throughout the country. And, if the support's there, we'll do it. It sounds like it's I don't know. It's just it's a very exciting time right now, really, because there's a lot of people interested in the game.
Awesome. Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed for MagFest because I'll probably be there in
Okay, and
2018.
Where's that located?
It's up around Alexandria,
Okay.
Washington, D.C. It's right up around in there.
Oh, okay. Okay, and yeah, so you call them up, say, hey, you need CosmoTrons at your event.
Oh, yeah, I will. I'll definitely tell them about it. Well, thanks a lot for coming on to the show and talking about CosmoTrons. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, Willie. And again, I really appreciate all you do for us arcade enthusiasts, and then also to your listeners for telling them about CosmoTrons, and hopefully we'll get a couple more Cosmotron fans.
Awesome.